Hello everybody, welcome to Going for Goldbridge. Good to be back, glad to be doing one, and I'm going to start and answer the biggest question I've been asked, the most question I've been asked, because I feel that it's a cop-out, and basically I've been asked it so many times, what's your biggest regret? And I've always swerved it and said, oh, I don't really have any regrets. Robbie Williams, no regrets. And the reality is I'm swerving the question and I don't like swerving it, so I'm going to answer that question. But first of all, we've had some good questions from you lot. I will be taking some of those a little bit later in the show, but just as a little bit of a sprinkling, Will Rayner says, would you ever go on Come Dine With Me? I would bloody love to go on Come Dine With Me because I do like cooking when I get the time to do it, so I would love to do that. Would you ever consider acting, says at MUFC Toby. Again, I would love to do it. I would love to do a bit of acting. And there was another question I wanted to answer very, very quickly from... How do you cheer yourself up, says Seb, MUFC. You know what? As long as it's legal, I think there's many ways to cheer yourself up. I get fed up, as I said last week, with the my farts don't smell. Ooh, that's disgusting. You know what? If you want to watch a film, if you want to watch porn, if you want to go out and play football, if you want to play on your computer game, if it cheers you up and it's legal, what's the problem with it? You know what? We all fart in the bath. Anyway, let's crack on with it. What is your biggest regret? Don't get in the comments with your biggest regret. We could have people monitoring it and going, right, they did that crime. Look, my biggest regret is... Look, there's a few stories I've told you in the past that I've probably left a little bit out because I don't talk about it, because it is my biggest regret. And it's nothing to do with... Look, I would love to have been a footballer. I believe I was good enough. I mean, there's not many people who are two-footed. I am two-footed. Now, maybe I wasn't good enough, but I was two-footed and I was a good player. So I felt I could have done it. I think my confidence as a teenager and as a kid held me back. It was never going to happen. I was one of those people who just waited to be picked rather than put myself forward. And I think especially in competitive sport, you've got to put yourself forward. I always say that to my daughter who plays. You can't sit back. You've got to go and get the ball. You've got to go and get involved. So... that I was never going to be a footballer because of my personality as a kid, so that's not a regret thing. Do I regret not asking a certain girl out? No, I don't. I'm very happy with how I ended up like that. Do I regret different jobs I've had? No, I think. But the thing I do regret, and I could have controlled, and I'm just going to get to it, is I swear too much, and I've sworn all my life way too much. And look, I've told you stories in the past, like the injustice of when I was at school and we were doing a quiz in RE, and everyone was in their little tables, and the tables were sort of in a row like that. And I knew these group of girls were cheating, so I crawled under the tables, came up between one of the girls' legs, not like that, and went, look, she's got post-it notes on her thing. Now I told you I ended up getting put on the chair because the teacher didn't like that I'd gone under the table and caught them or whatever, which seemed like a massive injustice. The truth of the matter is, the teacher said, what are you doing? And then the girl sort of had a go at me and I went, oh, shut up, you fucking bitch. And then I got put on there. Because swearing, I have this issue with swearing. It makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. Like, I don't know where it comes from. I mean, look, I grew up around swearing. My school was a Church of England school, and there was effing this and effing that. But it's just something I've never been able to shake. And like when I'm playing FIFA or when I'm watching football on the streams, it comes out and I don't like it. And the thing is, people meet me in real life and they're like, you're not really like that, are you? And I'm like, no, there's something that triggers my swearing, and it's not... Football is a big part of it, but also... I think it's circumstances. It is circumstances. Like, again, I remember when we was talking about the bullying thing, and I remember, like, being about 9 years old, and, you know, we'd had a game of football, and football was involved, but the football game was over. We're coming back from lunchtime play. A couple of the older lads were laughing because we'd lost, and I went, "Oh, go fuck yourself." As an 8 or 9, and I got punched in the face for it, which was probably about right, because you can't go around swearing at people like that, can you? It's always been there, and I think it's I was sort of thinking about it before I did the video, and I think it's a defence mechanism, but I think it's also an anger. I mean, look, I hate the word cunt. I absolutely hate it, but I've called the cupboard it 100 times. You know, if I bang my head on something, I'll actually attack it and start shouting at it and go, it's an anger thing. It's an anger thing. It's a reaction thing. And it's something I really, really do need to get control of, and it is one of my biggest regrets, really, because I still have it now, and it's something I could get control of, but I struggle to get control of. And you know, I'm very good at being like, you know, mental health and, you know, racism, sexism, bullying. Very good at, you know, sort of preaching about these things, you know, and these shouldn't happen. But I can't get a control of my swearing. And look, do I want to? Well, you know, yeah, I do, because I do find it embarrassing in many ways that, you know, you're on YouTube, you're playing FIFA or something like that, and people put the little clips up, and I'm like, oh right, that was quite funny what I said there, but why am I saying F this and F that? And look, you know, talking about football as well, I do think that football, I don't know about you, but I think football with me has always been my mask, really, in many ways. Not that I'm a different person, but I think that it look, when I was at school, I was a little bit, I've said this before, you know, in my school years, I was a little bit withdrawn in relation to, I was a little bit standoffish. I played for the school football team, I got on with all the popular lads, but I wasn't the most vocal, whereas I think now I am probably quite one of the more vocal ones. But when I went on a football pitch, I was more vocal than anybody. I mean, some of the lads in the dressing room used to laugh and say, God, you're on a football pitch, you're totally different to what you like on it. And I think probably in relation to the United stand and everything, people, when they meet me, I'm not like really shy or anything like that. I'm very vocal, but I'm not chucking analogies out every minute. I'm not swearing. I'm actually quite relaxed. But football does bring out something in me, and I think it brings out a lot of in other people. I mean, I remember my first sending off when I was about 14. I don't want to say 13. I'll say 14. And one of the lads I was playing with did this tackle, and the referee pulled it up, and it was nothing to it, and I just went off on one, because like football to me, it's like I relate to people like Roy Keane and Sir Alex Ferguson, who were just very aggressive, you know, totally eaten up by football when the football match is on, and I just gave this ref a load of abuse. I was like, you blind trap, what are you doing? Anyway, he called me over before he went to speak to the lads he was going to book. Well, no, he booked him, and then he called me over, and I was like, oh God, I'm going to get booked as well. And I wasn't even looking, I was just like, oh God. And everyone's face just dropped, and I looked up, and it was a red card, and I'd been sent off. And as I walked off, my manager had a right go at me, and I took my boots off and threw them over in his direction as well. And it's just like, that's not really me. That isn't really me. But it's the red mist descends. I mean, we had that game against Football Daily, and I to this day, I mean, I did apologise and everything, but to this day, I just feel really embarrassed by it, because it was a bad tackle. I mean, it's on the United stand. It's one of the videos there. It was a bad tackle on our player, and it was right in front of it. But there was enough time to calm down before picking the ball up and throwing it at the player's head. And then it all kicked off, didn't it? And, you know, I should have been sent off for that, but it was a friendly. It's the red mist. And the red mist with football isn't just football. I think the red mist descends with me if I stub my toe, if I bang my head on a cupboard, if there's a sense of injustice. It just, verbal diarrhea really, it just spews out. And I'm sort of doing therapy myself here, but I remember when I think I told you a story before at Christmas where we were out on New Year's Eve as a family, and it ended up being a big fight. And basically I came out and gobbed off at this woman who was having a go at someone from my family, and then this big fight happened. We got kicked out of the pub. I remember there was a couple of doormen and the landlord was there. We weren't going to get barred for that fight. They would have let us back in. I got barred for a year for what I said to the landlord. And I was like, get back in the oven, gingerbread man, because he had ginger hair. And he went, what did you say? I said, oh, you heard what I said. Fuck off, Fanta pants, or something like that. And then I got barred for a year because, quite rightly, it's vile and it's abusive. And yeah, I just don't know. I mean, people have said to me, maybe you should have some therapy about it. And I'm like, what, for swearing? But actually, I do genuinely think it's something that I really am regretful about. And it doesn't happen in 99% of my life. Like, I'm very, very chilled out. I'm very, very, people say, oh, you're not really like what you like when you're watching your match, are you? And I said, look, take me down the pub with a couple of pints, we'll watch a match, and I guarantee I'll be swearing about the ref or something like that. It's just in me when there's a sense of injustice, when I get angry, it's what comes out. And it isn't just football. It is something that I regret, and it is something that I wish I knew where it came from. But I suppose some people throw punches, don't they? I'm not really in for violence, and I think my aggression and nasty side is swearing. and that's it. You know, for me, actually, I think I'm working through therapy myself here. I think for me, when something happens and I'm exploding, like when I was even I remember as 9 years old, those 11-year-old bullies who were trying to fucking wind me up. I've just done it there. I've just let an F word out there, and it's like I'm so frustrated. You could walk up and try and fight them, but no, I tell you what, I'm going to swear at them and try and, you know, and vent out. And like I say, when I bang my head on the corner of a cupboard, you know, it's just that aggression, and it makes me feel better to swear. It's sad. It's sad. And look, you know what? It is sad. It is sad. Some people don't mind swearing; they're not bothered about it. But for me, I always feel that in my life, I have been punching above my weight. A lot of people say, you know, I put the picture on Instagram of me and my wife, and I'm not bothered. When people say you're punching above your weight because she's better than you, I don't care. But to me, that's like, you know, that's a massive positive, isn't it? But I think in my life, the things that bother me the most are I don't like bullies, and I don't like people who think they're better than you. And I think a lot of my life I've been punching above my weight, and I've always felt like that. And it's nothing to do with who's brought me up or where I've come from, because I'm proud of that. I just feel it's a feeling. You know, some people just get really lost on the fact that you're a result of your background, and I think that's very unfair. Very unfair. I think that some of the things that are in you, and I've always had that feeling that I've got to prove myself and that I am punching above my weight. And I think that the thing, this is the thing I regret, because it's like it gives people a chance to look down at you. If you are swearing is seen as to be honest, stereotypically swearing is seen as something that uneducated people do, and I suppose that makes me feel embarrassed about it, because I think that people look down at me because I do use that. Not necessarily when I'm playing FIFA or I'm watching football. I think, you know, stereotypically, I think people look down at football fans. You know, I do. Whether it's football Twitter, whether it's football fans on the terrace, I think in general society, people look down at football fans. And I love football, and I will defend football fans. So yeah, I think it's a vicious circle for me. It is. I don't like injustice. I don't like bullies, and I don't like people who think that they're better than you. And yet, my coping mechanism with injustice when I'm angry is to swear, which gives them more chance to look down at me. So, you know, I've taken you through a therapy session there, which I'm not going to get any result of, but yeah, it is my biggest regret, and I don't have a solution to it. I'm laying myself bare, really, because I don't have a solution. I have an explanation. Do I have an explanation? Why do I do it? Well, yeah, I do have an explanation. It's my vent. It's my frustration. It's me, and I wish I didn't do it. I really do. Look, in taking a serious note, well, that is serious to me, but taking a serious note, this whole coronavirus thing, a lot of people getting very, very worried about it. My statement on this, for what it's worth, you might want to listen to Boris Johnson or Donald Trump or any other, or the World Health Organization. I don't think going for Goldbridge is the place to go to get an official statement on coronavirus. But my statement on it is this: what they're trying to do, and having worked in emergency services, what they're trying to do. Oh, actually, let me just read this question out, because it comes in quite nicely here. At L Tordoff 7 says, "How did the police force change your life, and was it for the better or the worst?" There's good and bad to that. I know a lot of things because of it, and like in relation to coronavirus or any virus or any major incident, there are plans in place, and you have to be confident in that. What they're trying to do here is eliminate but manage a virus that is very infectious, that if they just say, go to school, go to work, use public service, don't wash your hands, it will absolutely obliterate this country in relation to resources, because so many people will get ill. The National Health Service will get swamped. A lot of at-risk people will die. We're not looking at preventing this virus at the moment. We're looking at containing it and staggering it, so that if you quarantine, close schools, stop events, stop people coming into interact with each other, you will. It's absolutely obvious, isn't it? If you stick 100 people in a room with somebody who's got a cold, then a lot of people in that room are going to get the cold. If you put 10 people in a room, then 100 people aren't going to get it because there's only 10 people in the room. You're just limiting the opportunities for it to spread. That's what we're going to be trying to do. So that's why we probably will see schools closures, people working from home, public transport, travel bans, major events being cancelled. You know, it's going to happen because it will limit it. Will it be as bad as I don't know. But I totally agree with what the plans are for it, and I don't think people should panic about it because it's just a logical thing. We've not really had this in many people's lifetimes. We've not really had anything like this. But what it is, it's just limiting the spread of something to making it more manageable. That's what they're trying to do. And to be honest with you, this virus sounds quite bad, but you know, what if it had a 30 or 40% death rate and it was killing, you know, it wasn't just people who were elderly or with underlying health conditions that were at risk, it was everybody. So, and that might be coming down the line at some point in 2 years, 10 years, 20 years. So actually, this is a bit of it's not a good thing, but it's the way we handle it, we can learn a lot from it. As for the police thing, for me, look, stereotypically you get frowned upon for doing that, but I did that for I went into the police for two reasons. One, because I loved watching Inspector Morse and stuff like this, and I just wanted to be a detective, and it was enjoyable as I thought it was. So anybody who watches something on the telly and thinks I want to be a fireman or I want to go in the army or anything like that, maybe go and give it a try, because actually I really enjoyed being a detective. Saw some horrible things, but did some things that I was really, you know, did some good, which is why I went in there. And that was the second reason I went in there. My family didn't want me to do it. Stereotypically wouldn't really be very trusting of the police, but I had a motivation in me that I wanted to go and do it, and I wanted to go and do it to prove that good people can do it, because ultimately I believe I am a good person, and ultimately I'm a fair person, and ultimately I, as I've said to you many, I believe in second chances. Now, in any organisation, you will get people in there who are bullies, who are in there for the wrong reasons, who are corrupt. And yeah, 100% there was people in there like that, but that wasn't me, and that wasn't a lot of people I worked with. And I never wanted to go and do it forever. I just wanted to do it for a decade, and I did. And then I got out, and I learned a lot from it. And I also saw a lot from it. And I think it also, in a good and bad way, it made me very eyes open to what the world's like. And I think some people are just not. And I think I'm a bit unfair on those people, because why would they know? Why would they know that person's a con person? Why would they know that person's a blagger? Why would they know that person's taking the piss? Because unless you come across all sorts of people and what they will do to get up in life, and I'm talking internally in the police, and I'm talking, you know, criminals as well. So I learnt a lot from it, but it does make you quite hardened to situations, and that I think that's the negative side of it as well, because of the things you see that you probably wouldn't see. It's the same as if you're a paramedic, a doctor, fire service. You know, if you see the bad side of life, you become quite hardened to it, because it's a coping mechanism. And that reminds me as well, in the police, you can't go around telling everyone to F off and everything like that. So I did something for 10 years where I was very, very professional. And yet in my private life, I just can't do it. See, I can stop myself doing it, but it's when I'm at my most relaxed, I suppose, or angry. I just can't stop doing. Will I get a PS5 or the new Xbox? Says PES Mad. I'll probably stay PlayStation, to be honest with you. I'm not answering football questions. That's not what this is all about. Do you find it hard dealing with the social media aspect of what you do, and the abuse social media tends to bring, or do you have a good mental filter? Says Gavin Dickerson, which is at Hadders66. A good question. Obviously, I was sort of talking about it last week in relation to like the Caroline Flack thing. And look, the truth is, I know anyway. Look, people laugh at this, but I know. Look, with the biggest United fan channel in the world on YouTube, if you're a Manchester United football player, are you going to ignore that? It's the most pure opinion you're going to get. Like mainstream media, we all know there's a lot of bollocks in there. We also know a lot of the journalists went to bloody get a degree in journalism, maybe don't even support the clubs they're writing about. Fan opinion, these are the people that pay to watch you. These are the people that love the club. Like, if I was a professional footballer playing for Arsenal, I'd watch Arsenal fan TV, and they do. If I was a professional footballer at Manchester United, I would watch the United stand, and they do. So we all, they won't admit it, but we all are drawn to real opinion. And I think if you are in social media, or you are at school and you find out there's a WhatsApp group in your class, you're going to want to, and somebody says they were talking about you last night, but I've got the password, do you want to read it? You're going to read it. And all these people who say, well, I don't read what's in the papers, I just ignore it. I don't believe them. I really don't believe them, because I think that it's in your nature to be curious. Curiosity killed the cat. Curious. How do you cope with it? I think there's one sentence that really resonates with me that I've learned, is that you don't have to worry about the bad people not liking you. Worry about the good people liking you. And I think that's it. And if your mantra is, if you believe that you're a good person, which I do, then I'm not really interested in what bad people have to say about me, because I know, as I said last week, if you're a 17, 18, 19, 20, 30, whatever year old, and your whole life has been in the entertainment business, and, you know, that's about being liked, must be very difficult when you've only lived in that bubble. For me, I've had no money. I've worked in a cheese factory. Nothing wrong with working in a cheese factory. I've been unemployed. I've had crap jobs. You know, I've had good jobs. I've seen things. I don't have a degree, but I have a degree in life, and that prepares you, I think, for the kicks in life. I mean, I remember talking to the kids about it last week with the wife, that there was a time in our lives where we basically didn't really have any money at all, and we were surviving on like bean casserole and everything like that. And you know, it's character building though, because we knew we would come through that. There was a reason for it. It was because we were like, the jobs that we'd taken, you have to start off at the bottom, and you don't get paid well, but if you work hard you go up, and it worked, and it did work out. But I look back on that and I think, well, you know, the struggle and the kickbacks are what make the good times better, and it also defines you as well, that ability to deal with the kickbacks. So look, it's very difficult. I don't pretend that there's an easy answer to any criticism or any abuse. There isn't. It's going to hurt you, but I think you have to get that mindset of that people out there are just, you know, a lot. I always think as well, the person that calls you a nonce, the person that is being abusive, the person that says that you should be banned from primary schools or whatever like that, they're hilarious, aren't they? They're absolute comedians. In fact, you're such a funny comedian. Please, can you come up and stand up and do a stand-up show so we can all see what a great person you are? Oh, right, what? You're some little sad twat who doesn't dare do it unless it's behind a keyboard. What a surprise. So a lot of these people who are doing the abuse, they're insignificant in their, and they've got their own issues. I think if you can imagine, you know, they always say if you're going to do a speech and you're nervous, imagine the audience naked. That might actually get you aroused. You might not want to do that. But if you are being abused, imagine the person that's probably doing it, and imagine the lowest common denominator with so many issues of their own, that they're doing this as a coping mechanism for their own problems. They're not bloody millionaire, successful, nice people on Twitter calling you a nonce. That's not what's happening. It's their aggression, it's their inadequacy, it's their insecurities, it's their issues spewing out in an expressive way, in an abusive way. What's life like in Ireland, and is it as bad as Plymouth, says Dylan Haney. I love living in Ireland. I don't live there anymore. What consequences do you think? I've done the Coronis one, Callanan. How did a day look when you were growing up? How did a day look when you were growing up? Carl, I don't know. I don't even know how to answer that one. I don't. And there you go, Brandon Prime. Absolutely bang on. He's at Blaze Brandon 2. What's the biggest regret of your life? It's always there every week, and I always would go, I don't believe in regrets. Well, there you go. You know now. You know. I also want to say, please subscribe to the channel. Smash the like on the video as well. All that jazz. But really, really excited. A new series here on Friday. I'm very excited about this. So please do subscribe, get your notifications on. This is a series that for me, and this channel is for everybody, but I do like this channel because it takes me away from what I do into areas that I don't do. And this video I'm going to do on Friday is going to be part of a series. I think people will like it because, you know me, it's interactive, it will generate opinion, and I'm really excited about it. So please do subscribe. I think you're going to enjoy it. I think you will. Would you take 10 meters now or 5k every week for the rest of your life? Would you take 10 million now or 5k every week for the rest of your life? Says Zimmy. So 5k every week is 20 grand a month, times 10 is 200 grand, times 210 grand a year, which is 4 years, you've got 800 grand, 8 years, 2 million. There's not going to be a lot of difference in me, is there really? 5k every week I think I would take. Yeah, I think I'd be happy with 5k every week over 10 million because 5k a week's very, very good money, isn't it? But, I mean, money... Look, I've had money, I've not had money, like I said. Money... If you haven't got money, you can buy a nice jumper from Tesco for a tenner. If you have got money, you can buy a nice Hugo Boss top for 100 quid. It's relative. If you haven't got money, you might go and buy a can of beans for 5p. If you have got money, you might get Heinz beans for 50p. You might have a Peugeot on your drive. You might have a Ferrari on your drive. You might have a nice 3-bedroom house. You might have a mansion. It's all relative. You can spend money the same. So I think people who get fixated on money probably never going to be happy. I'm not money motivated. I'm not. I do like the nice things in life, but I enjoy them because I know that I've had times where I didn't have that money, and I've been as happy. As I said before, I've been as happy when I've had 100 quid in my bank account as I have been when I've had a million. I've never had a million in my bank account. I left that in for a joke. But I've had 10 grand in my bank account before, and I've had 10 quid in my bank account before, and I was probably as happy as I was with the 10 quid, popping down the Co-op, 10 packets of 10 cigarettes for a quid, and down the pub for 4 pints with the remaining 9 quid. I remember you used to be able to go out with a fiver, get a packet of 10 cigarettes, B&H, which was about £1.10, and still get maybe you definitely get 2 pints and a packet of 10 cigarettes for a fiver when I was growing up. So, yeah. Yep. Best Harry Potter film, Prisoner of Azkaban, I would say. What's your best and worst quality? Says Big Fuzz. What a good question that is. To be answering that towards the end is a shame. What's your best and worst quality? My best quality and my worst quality... one of my qualities is a good and bad thing. You ever seen that film, Meet the Fockers, Circle of Trust? I had that before that film. I think they almost nicked that idea. I didn't call it the Circle of Trust, but trust to me is really important. If you're in the Circle of Trust, then I'll do anything for you. If you're outside the Circle of Trust, then you're outside the Circle of Trust. I'm still nice to people, but to trust somebody, it takes a lot. But if they're in there, that's great. But if they break that trust, and I think, to be honest, that's a bad thing sometimes because humans do make mistakes. Humans will do things that you won't do. And sometimes you can have too high standards for people. So, yeah. But I genuinely... The person who says I'm a nice person probably isn't, but I genuinely think there's a lot of things that I do like about myself. There are some things I don't like, but as I always say, I should get it on a t-shirt. Everybody's farts smell. They do. Doesn't matter what your diet is, they will smell. Where are you going on holiday? Says Kicks. I haven't even booked it yet because I'm genuinely thinking booking a holiday at the moment it probably isn't a good idea, because if this gets worse in relation to it spreads everywhere, most countries are going to just lock down. And that doesn't mean everyone's going to die. I think people are getting the two things mixed up. Not booking a holiday isn't because I think I'm going to go to Mallorca and going to die. It's because if I did get to go there, what if I get quarantined? What if there's no... I just think maybe this year it might not be the summer to go on holiday. But we'll all know in the next month or so, won't we? We've not had any in our area at the moment. I love Cornwall. Jack Williams, 1999. Here we go. James McDermott. Would you rather be paralysed or deaf and blind? Well, I think he means would you rather be paralysed or deaf and blind, because deaf and blind won't matter. Doesn't matter if you can't see when you're dead. So would you rather be paralysed or deaf and blind? Oh, this is like, would you rather be eaten by a shark or spit roasted? And I don't mean in the sexual sense. I mean like a pig. And again, I don't mean in the sexual sense. People probably do that. I mean, like, where they put an apple in your mouth and you slowly get turned around. Yeah, I'd rather none, James, to be honest with you. I'd rather none. And BBC Matty says, my dog just passed away. Any advice for dealing with this? I tell you what, people might laugh, but actually dealing with the death of a dog is really hard. I remember when my dog, or our dog, when I was younger, Tara, Bull Mastiff, she died at 6. She was took to the vets, and we knew she was going to the vets the next day because she wasn't very well. And I remember waking up in the morning and praying at 4 o'clock in the morning to God and saying, please, please, please don't let her get put down. If she gets put down, I'm never praying again. I don't believe in you. I will never believe in you if you take this dog away. And she got put down, and I was absolutely gutted, as was everybody. And I still went to church, and I still did. It's life. It's sad. People, animals, especially dogs, they're very loyal. And it's very hard to deal with, but what I would say is that if it was suffering, at least it's not suffering anymore. I think the way we deal with animals is far better than the way we deal with humans. You get a death sentence as a human in relation to a cancer or something like that, and people have to go through. Or I've seen people with cancer, and you think they're going to be dead in a week, and they hang on for weeks and weeks and weeks, and they're really ill. And you think, actually, we know you're going to die. You're going to die. Maybe there's a way that you can just go. And like with a dog, you can do that. You can have them put down, and you can limit their pain. But it is very sad when it happens. And you'll always. I've had loads of dogs die, put down. Not because I'm a bad owner or all that, just because I grew up with dogs and we like dogs. And it is sad, and you don't forget them, and you probably get another one, and you go again. Bloody Liverpool trying to win the title. I mean, like, you remember those dogs, and you get another one because you love dogs. It's the circle of life. We're here for a good time, not a bad time, and we're here for a good time, not a long time. So it is life, and life can kick you in the teeth. But the reason it hurts so much is because you had such good times. So you've got to remember the good times, but you've got to grieve as well. Thanks everyone for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Brilliant video going up on Friday. Thanks everyone for today. Bit of a weird one. I sort of went through a bit of therapy myself there, but I wanted to answer the question that always gets asked. So thanks for watching. Speak to you all soon.